Swayam Prabha. Digital India. Educated India.
Hello and welcome. In the previous session, causes of failure of startups were discussed. In this session, we are going to take a cue from there and discuss more causes of failure, and then we are going to start with founder's dilemma. That is another very important cause that was not discussed the previous day. It was based on a book by Noam Wasserman. Then we are going to discuss about 3 characters in all of us that is necessary to become an entrepreneur. In fact, there is an entrepreneur in everybody. There is a manager, there is a technician. We will see how to make a balance between all the 3. Then we will be talking about specific causes of failure of Indian startup at last, which are somewhat similar to the global startups with a little bit of difference. Now, you have a bright idea, you are passionate, and you need several other things to really be successful in entrepreneurship. The most important mistake that many entrepreneurs make is like this, that they think that if I can develop a cutting edge product, a product with cutting edge technology, and I know that this is going to be liked by customers, because I am also one of the customers, and because this is the latest technology. So, there is every reason that I will know how to manage a business, whereas management of business and developing a product is absolutely a different ball game. So, we are going to see that moving forward. You may actually start a business in your own domain. That is highly essential, because you know that domain well, better than many others who are not from the same domain. But then chances are that because you are techno savvy, you are going to focus more on the technology, and then ignore many of the things which are not technology related, but related to management of the enterprise. And Michael Garber, the author of the book E-Myth, says that this is something that is known as entrepreneurial Caesar, meaning that you are under a Caesar, that you can become a wonderful entrepreneur because you know technology, you know your product. So, there is no reason why you won't be successful entrepreneur. Most importantly, when the business grows, you have developed a product. Now, the product you are ready to go to market, meaning customers are already kind of evaluated and given positive feedback. So, you know that okay, this is the time to go to market. Now, when you send the product to the market, so many other issues other than product start cropping up, like say distribution channel, logistic, like after sale service, payment, information, so many other things that kind of is a part and parcel of the business. So, all those may or may not be founder's job, it may be somebody else's job. Founders may not be able to do that so well. So, if you are not able to handle that, there will be dissatisfied customer, and eventually you will be frustrated because you won't be able to really manage. And that is where Garber's this philosophy comes into play. He says that there are 3 characters in us, everybody is a technician, everybody is a manager, everybody is an entrepreneur, but of different degrees. Maybe you are a wonderful technician, you are less of a manager, maybe you are less of an entrepreneur. So, it is very important to know what you are, and if you are not somebody, then it is highly essential that you understand that early on, so that you can hire people, or you can have a co-founder who can make good that shortage of skill, whatever that is, whether it is management, whether it is anything that can be supplemented through team building. So, it is very essential that you understand, you make an assessment of your own capabilities, and then what capabilities that the business demand. So, that there can be a match between demand and supply of the capabilities. So, he says like this, as per Garber, entrepreneurs have a compelling vision and an extensive strategies to implement that vision. That is all about the vision, and then starting to develop the product. So, he is about to disrupt the technology domain, or whatever products are there in the marketplace. He is going to disrupt maybe even people's aspiration, meaning that he is going to define a new product that people are going to think that, oh my God, I never thought that I need this product, and they are going to need this. So, these kind of people who can disrupt the technology, who think ahead of the competition, they always live in the future, because they try to preempt the competition. If somebody has to preempt the competition, he needs to know in which direction technology is moving, and he will think in a futuristic manner, so that he can preempt everybody, the competition. But then if you are disrupting everything, you are disrupting your inside and outside, and there should be somebody to manage that, to bring harmony into this disruption, into this disharmonious development pattern, because entrepreneurs will always think in a disruptive manner, even though they have a vision and they are always focused towards the vision, but then to reach to the vision, they will divert from that traditional path, or from the path that they have defined for themselves. No, somebody has to bring them onto the path again and again, and then put everything in a very harmonious manner, so that ultimately the business grows. Ultimately, you don't have that shiny object syndrome. Normally, entrepreneurs may have that shiny object syndrome, meaning that they will find many things attractive. So, their attention will be drawn towards many things, but manager will bring them on the way, and then they will manage the situation. So, managers actually live in the present days. They don't live in the future. They don't think of the futuristically, because they have to think of the past and the present, meaning they mostly live in the past, because they have to bring harmony based on previous trend, based on whatever entrepreneurs thought in the past, and then they have to manage them and put everything in a systematic manner. Whereas technicians live in the present, because they know that they are the best in this technology. They give them a problem that I need a solution of this kind. They will know what technology is there, or what technology is there is emerging moving forward. They will put all the best technologies and develop a product. They know that if there is a problem, they have a solution. Whether this solution is customer friendly, whether customer is going to love that product or not, they are less concerned about that. They are more concerned that they can develop a product with cutting edge technologies. They live in the present. So, now you have to see how much of the technician you are, how much of the manager you are, how much of an entrepreneur you are. If you are a entrepreneur, you have vision, you disrupt everything, but then there should be somebody to manage at the back end, in the office, in the your supply chain, your logistic, your all other, your human capital, they have to recruit, etc., etc. If one has to do everything, it's going to be very difficult to manage. So, when business starts growing, particularly at that point of time, if you are not going to hire professionals, you are going to find it very difficult to manage. So, that is what Garber says, that we need to identify our limitations, our strengths. Where is our strength? Am I a good manager, or am I a good technician? If I am a good manager or a technician, then I have to hire people with managerial capabilities or something. So, we have bit of everything. Someone may be a more of entrepreneur, less of technician, less of manager. Then he or she has to hire, means find out a professional with those qualities, experience, etc. We need to realistically assess. That's it. No, technician is a doer. You give him, he perhaps will not sleep until he is successfully developing, completing that. He won't be able to sleep. He will always think, after this what? Meaning he has done something, now a problem. So, continuously he will remain hooked onto the problem, so that he can find a solution. But then, as I said, he may not be customer focused. He may not understand, he or she may not have an eye for features that customers are demanding, or features that customers are not bothered about. So, he or she is going to add more and more features to make it a wonderful product. But then, as business starts growing, you have many other domains that is kind of emerging as demanding. Your finance department is demanding, because you need more money, you need to follow up for recovery of the sales proceeds, you have to think of the payment or salaries, etc., etc. You have to think of the cash flow, whether you are familiar with that or not. Suddenly you will realize that there is no money to pay salary for the next month, and then 1 month may be too short a time to go for raising another round of funding. So, being an entrepreneur, it is going to be very difficult to take care of, to keep an eye, a 360-degree view about everything. So, you need professionals. Now, having said this, as I have been repeatedly mentioning about management, so a very key area of management is business process management. Is a new not so new, but relatively new concept, and we need to understand. In the previous session also, we have talked about business process management, and most of the entrepreneurs actually neglect this very important aspect of business. Business process management actually put the entire management of the business in a process kind of a thing, that it moves from one step to another seamlessly, so that there is no bottleneck, there is no emergency, you do not have to firefight. This kind of a situation is never going to arise, because if there is a problem, somebody is already assigned that this kind of a problem he or she has to attend. So, everything in a systematic way is a systems approach. Like every action, for every action there will be many other systems which are going to be affected, negatively, positively. If negatively, then who else should attend that, so that everything moves harmoniously. This whole arrangement is business process management. It brings about clarity on strategic direction, aligns firm resources, increase discipline in daily operation. Resources means many things: human capital, material, your marketing professionals, everything together is the resources. So, you deploy resources judiciously, so that there is no overuse at some point of time and underuse at some point of time, all that. So, increase discipline in daily operation. Then as I mentioned, it is an enterprise wide structured approach to provide the products and services that your customers value the most. It is grounded in the premise that you must take a process view in order to understand the products, services of that your customers value. An understanding of the key business processes helps to meet key customer needs, and you gradually realize the gap between customer expectation and your capability to perform. Eventually, you have satisfied customers, you have smoothly running business operations, your money is coming in time. So, it is a smooth sailing. It is a process approach, and it is a kind, as the phrase indicates, it is a kind of a systematic approach or systems approach. As I said, it ensures a smooth and seamless transition from one step of the business to another. So, you define any workflow, everything is predefined. Your resources are deployed to take care of everything. Like if there is a trouble, there will be somebody to troubleshoot, like that. It is a holistic management approach that aims to align business processes with changing business needs by continuously focusing on optimizing them. In complex business environment, BPM offers a standard and scalable solution for managing processes. These solutions include person to person work steps, system to system communication or combination of both, and then information flow, gathering information, putting that for decision making process, so that you are empowered with the right decision tools to make a decision. You don't wait for somebody to instruct you. So, it is an integrated approach of business management. It is a comprehensive strategies that facilitate organization to design, model, deploy and efficiently manage business processes to respond changing market dynamics. It generates actionable business intelligence in real time, helping organizations to rapidly respond to emerging challenges. Another way of looking at failure, meaning it is a different definition of failure. We have been saying failure from business perspective. It is another way of explaining failure may be because of mistakes, because of errors, because of carelessness, because of accidents, ignorance, or maybe you started developing a product based on a particular hypothesis. Now, your hypothesis may not always stand. It may go wrong and then you have to restart all over again. So, we will discuss more about hypothesis, leap of faith and all that moving forward. Now, we started by saying that we will be reviewing some of the causes of failure of India, specific causes of failure of startups. So, here are some of them, 8 of them. A major part has been taken from yourstudy.com, something from IBM studies, like the first one, lack of innovation and original business ideas. Some studies by IBM business houses, they have identified that majority of the reasons, like 70% of the reasons for Indian startup failure is that they are not innovation driven. Then lack of vision, lack of market understanding, poor competency, poor execution, excessive focus on weakness, every founder trying to be a CEO and not really hiring, means they want to control the business, they think that they can only manage the business. Lack of attention to meritocracy, meaning that they do not hire the right kind of people. Now, as IBM Value and Oxford Economics found, I said 70%, I am sorry, it is 90% of Indian startup that fail within first 5 years, and about 77% fail because of lack of innovation, meaning that they are trying to do something like copycat kind of thing, or maybe they are trying to emulate some other company in some other countries. Other major reasons that IBM and Oxford found is lack of skilled workforce. Maybe you have a wonderful idea, but then you do not have the right people to execute that. Then they do not have adequate or timely funding. Then inadequate formal mentoring or poor business ethics, that is what they found. The other reason we said, okay, first thing is India lack innovation. This is a conclusion that IBM team has made, that India does not have meta level startups such as Google, Facebook or Twitter. Whereas, look at China, they have built Baidu, which is like Google, they do not use Google. Then they have Alibaba, which is an equivalent of Amazon, and then even eBay could not sustain there in China because of Alibaba. So, they have all of them. Of course, we have Flipkart, but then Flipkart has been taken over by Walmart, that all of us know, but then we do not have anything like Google and many other things. It is not denying the fact that we really lack there. And since 2015, as many as 1503 startups have closed down in India, and the major reason is due to replication of Western business model, meaning they are trying to see what is successful in Western countries and then replicating that in India, and eventually they are not really becoming successful. Then if patent would be a metric to understand level of innovation, then the data here clearly indicates that we are lagging far behind. In 2015-16, India filed only 1423 international patent, whereas Japan failed 44,000, China 29,000, South Korea 14,000, small country. Whatever that kinds of conveys the message loud and clear. This is again intriguing, lack of vision, meaning that majority of our enterprises or startups are being created because of some passion, but then that passion is not driven by vision. We lack vision, and the moment we lack vision and we start a company purely based on passion, then we fail to bring people on board as regards sharing of the same vision. Unless everybody is clear about the vision, unless everybody recognize that this is the vision for which we are all working together, then there is no shared vision and there is no unity in direction, meaning nobody knows which direction we are progressing. So, failure is almost guaranteed as long as there is no shared vision among co-founders, among initial employees, etc. That is what is actually killing companies. Majority of the conflicts cannot be avoided as long as there is no shared vision. Then unique synergies will prevail only when there is shared vision. There will be less stress, and even if there is a stress, it will be tolerable. Lack of marketing understanding. This is equivalent of saying that entrepreneurs are making something that customers do not want. This is intuitive. Many startups teams are made of close friends with complementary skills. Okay, but then they are from the same engineering college. They are not engineering, but maybe they need a marketing person who should be able to give them clue about marketing, whether this product, whether market is actually demanding that product or not. So, their sole consideration is about passion and then how to develop a product, cutting edge product, but they are not focused on the customer. Most technology founders are besotted or obsessed with novelty of the solution. Whether this solution is demanded by customer is secondary. They want that our product should be kind of world class or whatever definition you can have, but they fail to focus on the impact that the product is going to make on the customers, on the competitive advantage and the customer's readiness to buy. Is the customer taking out his wallet and buying it? That comes much after in their horizon. That is then poor competency or lack of willingness to hire professional. This is equivalent of saying or this is in line with founders dilemma that Noam Wasserman has suggested, meaning that founders are unwilling to leave control of the company. They think that we are the best people to control our business, that they do not want to empty the corner chair to a professional who is experienced, who is capable of managing many of the business processes. But the fact is that if you take successful entrepreneurs, about 75% of them have relinquished the CEO position to a professional before going for IPO. So, that shows their mentality or mentality of the successful entrepreneurs. That is what is founders dilemma. Many of the people can come out of the dilemma and hire professionals and they are successful. Then poor competency or lack of willingness, like we hire people, we know some people, childhood friend or somebody, and then we think that okay, we can train him and we can make him work for us. That does not work. You cannot, your human capital, human manpower is the greatest or the most valuable asset that is going to drive success of the company. You must not compromise on that, whereas Indian companies are found to compromise on that, either because they are not getting right people or even if they are not even trying perhaps to hire the right people. That's killing them. Early success or failure, meaning whether you are successful in the early stage or you are failing at the early stage, you need professionals to manage. Suppose you are successful, then you have more reasons to bring professionals to handle all those CEO staff, because you are successful, now the product is ready to go to market. Now there will be more challenges, because now the dimension is increasing, dimension of the problem, dimension of the business is expanding. So, you need people with experience. So, whatever it is, if you are failing, then also you need somebody to look after why you are failing and why customers are not liking, etc., etc. It is kind of a situation that you have to really find people. Look at some successful people, and then you will realize that they all hired professionals early on, like Mark Zuckerberg. He hired all CXOs people, and then rest is history. He always thought that before he was about to grow, he realized that he needed professionals, and he hired them, and then they have actually brought the company where it is now. This is kind of in a graphical way of saying what you need to do, and what if you don't do, then where you are. On the y axis is the control, the x axis is the financial gain. If you want to have enormous control, your financial gain may be less. So, you are a king of your entire empire, but then you are poor king, whereas you lose control, but then maybe professionals will give you a lot of profit. So, you become rich, whereas other two boxes, like control is less, finance is less, that means professionals are not doing a wonderful job. So, kind of does not bode well. Next is poor execution. The best example about poor execution is Yahoo and Google. Most of the people say that Yahoo had search engine that was quite successful at the beginning. Google was almost like a Me Too company, like they started search engine, but they executed it so well that Yahoo is nowhere today, whereas Google is kind of a $1,000 billion company, or one of the most valuable companies. So, execution matters. You may have a wonderful idea, but then if you may have a first mover advantage, but if your execution is poor, somebody else will come and then they will do the same thing that you have been doing, and they will execute it better, and then they will be winning, whereas you will be languishing. So, execution is a whole gamut of thing, is a whole spectrum of management thing: superior customer value proposition, business process management, manpower planning, hiring, revenue model, what not. So, what can be done to take care of this? You define a clear objective goal, individual success metrics for every key personnel, and then set accountability that okay, you do this, else this is the outcome. Let everyone understand the big picture, meaning that everybody understand the vision, and then they share vision. You provide unfettered access to plans and information and an implication of their actions. If they do this actions, if they fail, what is the implication? Meaning they should know that I can take risk, and there is less of chances of losing my job or something, so that they can take action like an entrepreneur. Seamless communication, everybody should have access to communication. Support creativity. Unless your organization is an innovative organization, you are not going to go anywhere. So, innovation has to be promoted. Poor management, it subsumes all the management, business process management, everything that we discussed. Market problem, this has already been discussed, it is just a repetition. Lack of product market fit, obviously if the product market is not fit, then you are going to produce something that customers do not want. Founders needs to focus more on creating value for the target customer, meaning what the customer is asking for, what they are not interested in. Cut corners, reduce whatever customers are not really demanding, and add whatever customers will feel enamored about. Give the customers some wonderful experience, so that they feel, oh my God, I never thought that this product can give me so much of satisfaction. Else customer acquisition cost is going to be much more than lifetime value. By lifetime value, we mean couple of years value that you derive out of the same customers. You spend X amount of money, realize that within a couple of years, and then rest of the period you make profit. Then you change product, refine product, it goes on and on. Meritocracy or lack of it, meaning don't compromise on merit. Don't compromise on merit. You must not compromise. The agenda is to build the business and not really to give jobs to somebody, whether it's Keith and Kin or somebody else. That is not the point. People doing the right task, meaning people with the right talent should do the right task, is the recipe for success. Otherwise, it's going to ruin the business. Inability to raise capital is another issue, and the most important issue is that one should know when to raise capital, and they should try at least 6 months ahead. Like the number of rejection is huge, enormous. So, you should know that we are going to be rejected by umpteen number of people. So, start well in advance, do the cash flow analysis and understand when you are going to go negative on the cash, and then plan ahead so that you have the money ahead of time or right at the time, so that you do not be out of fund. Not following the validated learning process. Validated learning process is this, meaning you ideate and then you design, prototype and take it to the customer, a minimum viable product, a product with minimum features and minimum cost, show it to the customer. They say we do not like it because of this, or we like only this portion of the product, then come back with the knowledge of the level of satisfaction or whatever features they do not want, etc., etc. Again ideate, again design, and this cycle should go on, and then eventually you come up with a product that customers actually love. But then you should know the difference between failure and success, and you should never be afraid of failure. This is what Maxwell has said. Major difference between average people and the achiever people. Average people, they blame others. If something goes wrong, they say that so and so has done this and that is why it failed, etc., etc. Read this at leisure. I have less time, so we will move forward. Maxwell says that the only thing or the difference between an average people and an achieving people is their perception. Perception and response on failure. There is a failure, how you respond, how you perceive this failure and how you respond to this failure, make a distinction between successful people and average people. That is what Maxwell clearly says. He has written the 21 irrefutable law of leadership, where he says that successful people learn to do what does not come naturally. Nothing comes naturally. They normally learn to do. Nothing worth achieving comes easily. If something is worth achieving, it comes with hard work. The only way to fail forward means failing and learning and starting all over again and not committing the same mistakes. And achieve your dream is to cultivate tenacity and persistence. Success is a journey, the continuous process, and no matter how hard you work, you will not create the perfect plan or execute it without error. Error is going to crop up. It is inescapable. You will never get to the point that you no longer make mistake, that you no longer fail. That will never come, but then you will always learn, become smarter. So, the fellow who never make mistake, he takes orders from somebody who actually make mistake. Wake up and realize this. Failure is simply a price we pay to achieve success. What is the root of achievement or success? This is in a different slight digression. Some people may think that I need a family background to start a business. The fact is that high percentage of successful people come from broken homes, meaning family, whatever with or wealth or tradition, business tradition does not help. Wealth, most of the successful entrepreneurs started from a family with below average means. Opportunity, if there is single opportunity, there is 100 people, everybody will look at it differently. So, opportunity also, even if going in front of you, running in front of you, you will not be able to identify unless you have that kind of mindset to find that opportunity. Some final word. It is almost certain that failure is almost inescapable, but one's response to failure differentiates successful from failed ones. Learning from failure is the best way to move forward. Failure is actually great investment provided you learn from it. Accept that failure is waiting there to happen and save your resources for restarting. Benjamin Franklin long back said, "Drive thy business or it will drive thee." Another very important one, every paisa counts and every second counts. Don't waste it. Some references that you can see later: fail fast, fail early, fail forward. With a broader view through this previous 2 sessions, now you know the causes of failure, and you also know that these causes can be averted with some a priori knowledge. So, do not let failure statistics intimidate you. Respect failure, anticipate failure, prepare contingency plans, simulate, rehearse, turn failure to a resource. Look at what Madan Mohan Rao has said: failure is the siblings of success. So, use or tap your siblings or failure siblings, meaning success's siblings, as a strategic resource. That is it for today. Thank you very much.